Community Beacon, Fridays at 6:30 EST, with your hosts Michaeldseville and Joel Simmons. A channel whose focus is liberty. A place where the lessons discussed and taught will create openings to a more open and freer mindset. A mindset where you may reach the height of your potential and excel. Here are your hosts, Mike and Joel.
You don't work, you don't eat, you don't grind, you don't shine. Let's go.
Wow.
It was resonating in my mind. Oh, and I'm still rhyming. Okay, Mike. Okay.
Wow, man. That's how you open up a month right there.
Let's go. It is December 2nd.
We made it.
Friday, 6:30. If you are watching this, you know it's a community beacon. You know we love you guys for checking in. We appreciate you. Where has the year gone? But before we get into that, I'm your co-host, Mike Seville, real estate extraordinaire. I'm a little excited. I'm here. I appreciate you guys. Of course, we got the brother from another mother, the man with the master plan. You got to call him Joe. We're from the Tenacity Foundation. My brother, how we doing?
Hey, man, all is well. All is well at home front. I am. Look at Anna. She's like amazing energy. All right. I love it, bro. You've definitely been bringing this energy, man. I'm enjoying it. I really am. It's refreshing. It's refreshing. And, it's crazy because I've been speaking with so many different people from Philly lately. Shout out to Philly. I'm telling you, man, I've been talking with Philly and they're enjoying weather in the 30 some odd degrees. And I look at them, they're like all wrapped up with stuff on, and I'm just like, oh man, they must be cold around there. And I tell them, like, I'm in Florida.
Have no idea what you're going through, but my prayers and thoughts are with you out there. I don't understand what they go through. I'm with you. I was talking with someone from Washington earlier today, and she said, it was a snowstorm, and I'm like, I don't. And then they started talking about the certain kind of tires they got to put on the car for the ice, and I said, I don't even understand it, But God bless them out there in Philly, guys. It's December. I want to get. We're gonna get into it. Let me do the housekeeping first. Let me contain myself. All right. Focus. Focus. Guys, like, subscribe, share. We appreciate you all when you all do those things, depending on what platform you're on. YouTube, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Facebook, like, subscribe, share it with somebody. There's a lot of people. We put out a lot of information. There's a lot of content. I'm sure you know someone who can benefit from the information that we're putting down. Let's get into our shows. We're busy all week. We're moving all week. We got something for you almost every day of the week right about now. We got Mondays. What it takes. I'm talking about execution this month. You don't want to miss it, right? Last month we spoke about mindset. We're getting into execution. Let's go. It's time to go. It's time to make these things happen. Great time to make it happen. Everybody's on this high. Everybody's living good. It's the holiday season. Get your business together. Let's start this execution. We spoke about business plans, brother. You and I did a couple months ago. So we spoke about the business plans. We spoke about getting your mindset together. Now we're talking about execution. Let's make it happen. And of course, on Wednesdays, 12:30, it starts with who?
Starts with me.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Sarah Castrati is going to be in the building with us. And this is a wonderful young lady. She's got a lot to bring to the table. She went through a lot of stress, a lot of trauma as a young lady, and she is still getting up and getting it. Definitely proud of her. We also developed a little bit of a friendship too. So I still speak with her from time to time. As a matter of fact, I think playing tag, I think I owe her a phone call right now. So you all are going to love her. It's going to be a great thing. And she's going to join us with a very, very heartwarming story. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. I'm not surprised she decided to be friends with you, brother, by the way. I'm not
I
surprised.
appreciate it.
Yeah, you're a great friend to have, 1000%. I'm vouching for that. Of course, Fridays you're here, 6:30 Community Beacon. I love this show. I really do. I really love getting on this show. I really love that it allows us to have this. It's almost like a higher frequency mastermind for us to get into different things, talk about different things. Man, it's like we have these conversations and it always sparks these ideals and sparks these topics and these thought processes that we can then take and use in our lives. And so I know we're going to talk about, obviously this is our intro episode. We're going to talk about what we're going to do for the month. Guys, we're by the end of this month, we're heading into a new year. Of course, we're going to do a show where we talk about a lot of our takeaways from this past year. And there's been a lot. There has been a lot of different takeaways that we've had for the past year. So stay tuned for those episodes later on this month. This month in particular, though, the theme, there's 5 Fridays. Praise God. In December. There's 5 Fridays, so we get more time to talk. We get more time to talk on this month. And of course, this month we're talking about giving. You see the heading. That's the theme of the month. We're talking about giving. Last month we spoke about gratitude. Powerful, foundational. Foundational is gratitude, and giving is just as foundational as gratitude is. And I'm talking from a perspective of if you're ever in a funk, if you're ever feeling depressed, if you're ever feeling out of sorts, if you're ever feeling like the world is spinning and you're getting all kinds of information and it's coming from there, this way, you don't know where it's coming from, your head is in a tailspin, you can always go back to last month, the gratitude and giving thanks. And you always can start to think outside of yourself by giving, right? By releasing, opening up your hand, right? That's one of the greatest things you can do. So I'm excited about a lot of topics we talk about this month, brother. This giving topic was definitely your ideal. You have great ideas. So whenever the brother says an ideal, I'm just like, let's go with it. Let's try it. Sometimes I'm not happy about it, but I was like, let's go and let's see where it goes. What do you think? Talk about it. Let's get into the giving.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and I appreciate your candidness. Mike, you are known for being candid, open, honest, and truthful, and those are some powerful qualities, that have definitely made you a superior friend in my life. You know what I mean? And when we first met each other over a decade ago,
did I cuss you out?
Huh?
Did I cuss you out?
No, you was close to giving me something good.
Before let me interject. What is it? 12 years ago, close to 12 years ago, it was a different Mike. I was a good guy, but I was a different Mike. It was before a lot of soul searching and being around the great guys like this, brother. But go ahead. I apologize.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you weren't as smooth of an ashler as you are today, But I will give it to you that when I met you, you took time to give me those few words that you wanted to give me. And I remember that because Mike was like, we were in a group together, we were line brothers, and I couldn't make it to the meetings. I couldn't make it. There was so many different things that happened, and I'm not trying to make it.
You had a lot. You had a lot going on. Absolutely.
There was some serious things that were coming down on me. During that time, and Mike must have been, because nobody was taking any shorts on the group while I was dealing with my life. So they were paying the price for not having me around. And Mike, he ended up being the president, and he was not going to just stand for everybody else paying the price for this guy that he don't even know yet.
We
So
taking
we
a
had a
trip
sit
down
down.
memory lane.
Oh man, we had a sit down. Beethoven, Lou, me, Mike. We even had a sit down in the house of prayer.
That's a good place to sit. That's a
Thank
good place
God.
to sit.
I was so glad y'all wanted to come there because, man, you had some things to say, and all of them were seasoned with grace. As much as you could muster up, you brought it to the table. But I felt the burn of that spicy mustard. And, you know, but the thing about it is like, I always knew that was you. Always knew it. I always knew that you were an honest, sincere, uh, straightforward man. Always knew it. And I don't believe in changing people to fit me. I believe in accepting people as they are. And so for me, you know, I've had an opportunity of watching over the course of this this decade plus two, seeing the transformation of the individual and knowing that what people now get when they get Mike, that transparency, that truthfulness, that honesty, that integrity, that live by your word, that motivation, when they get that, I get the opportunity of knowing that has always been there. It's always been there. The only thing that's changed is like popping open a Coca-Cola and pouring it into a glass container.
Oh man.
That's it. It's the same power on the inside. It's just moved containers. That's all. The container now fits the mold of what is being brought to the table. And Mike, he's in the purest of form. He's just a good guy.
Oh my God.
Purest of form.
Timestamp Anna, I need you to timestamp. First off, brother, I appreciate it. Anna, timestamp that. Take it back about three minutes, cut it, and send it over to me because I'm gonna tell you that might be the best gift I'm gonna get this year. So and coming from a brother of that standard, I really do appreciate it, guys. I mean, and we can go back and forth all day because you just and with a lot we got a lot of reverence for each other, man. A lot of reverence, a lot of respect for each other, and we both know how to have a conversation with each other, even whether I'm in the wrong, or the brother feels as if or when the brother's in the wrong. We both can sit down and have a conversation. There's no greater thing that you can probably one of the second greatest things you can do for a friend, besides lay down your life for him, is to definitely to be able to be honest and sincere and integrity. And above all that is it's not out of trying to get something out of this person.
Right.
It's the person's best interest in mind, and that's all that it's about. And I think, man, we need more of these conversations, guys. I know we're going a little bit off on a tangent, but maybe that's what we give each other this year when we talk about giving, is a gift the truth and honesty and sincerity, and with knowing that that you have the other person's best interest in mind. You know what I mean? So, because some of the things I feel that nowadays, like a lot of times, we don't necessarily. It's hard for us to take criticism, constructive criticism. It's hard for us to take it on the cheek, and we all do better as we continue to go along, brother. I think one of the things with constructive criticism, and you get better at it as you start to take it, but a lot of that is being self-righteous. A lot of that is trying, you have to be right, all the time, and we just human beings, and we're all attempting. I'm hoping, I know that this brother is, and I know most of the people I am around are attempting to do the best we can with the knowledge it is that we have. So I think it's very, very important that we continue this, man. The brother about to make me cry on Facebook Live. This is not even a taped episode. Shouts out. Look at Kenyatta, man. I always appreciate Kenyatta. I saw Kenyatta in the gym. She's getting it in. She's doing what she has to do. She's come a long way as well, man. So yeah, absolutely. Iron sharpens iron, man. Appreciate you, Kenyatta.
The gift of acknowledgement. I love
yeah,
that. I love
yeah,
that. Mike, let
yeah.
me ask something. Can we jump into when giving hurts?
Let's go into it. Let's talk.
Let's
Let's
just
talk
get
about
into
it.
it. Because I mean, like that's something it's on my heart, and it
Mhm.
just seems like the way we have been kind of flowing, is talking about this giving and this relationship development. And I feel like this is really big, especially right now in this Christmas season, just getting out of Thanksgiving when you should have taken the time to really, really respond on how thankful you are, and Thanksgiving should be an everyday thing. I'm a believer that Christmas, the celebration of Christ, is an everyday thing, but many times I've heard you mention and talk about, this communication, this relationship type of thing. And, sometimes it comes to a point where like giving can hurt. And so I want to talk about that in a specific type of way,
Okay.
specific type of way. So what I mean by that is that you got a friend, you got, a wife, for someone out there, maybe they got a husband, or you have this significant person in your life, and you know your relationship, kind of ends up like knuckles to knuckles. It's almost hurting to be in that relationship. And in those moments, I feel like it's when we need to turn and give even more for the sake of the relationship, for the sake of the love, you know. And so I'm gonna toss it in your direction in just a moment, but I'll give like the greatest example, because you just mentioned it. No man, no man has given anything greater than his own life, right? And that was one of those quotes by Jesus when he said that to his disciples, that he gives his life for them because he loves them. And it's like, what do you do? Because there's a point in time when giving begins to cause some kind of pain. Do you the is is this is this thought process based off of who the individual is, whether or not I give anymore? You know, do I continue to give? What do you think about that? I guess let me make it more clear. When it comes down to the point where you are giving all that you have for someone that you love, and it feels as if you all are still at two different sides of the mountain, you're still butting heads. What do you do?
That's a man, that's a very deep question because you start to get into, one of the buzzwords now is what they call, and I'm just thinking about in the spousal relationship or relationship or all together. Or, heck, it doesn't even have to be spousal. It could be brothers and sons and fathers, brothers and brothers, brothers and sisters, family members, people that you kind of have to be, that you've taken on, family. And family doesn't necessarily have to be blood, by the way, guys. Um, and so at times it can be a toxic relationship. Like we're talking about, and once again, that buzzword, the toxic relationship. Because some people can take advantage of the fact that you do that. Some people can actually prey on the fact, and I don't think it's most people, and some people don't even know that they're doing it. So what do you do? Um, as a, I may not give the most politically correct answer, right? Because it's certain things. We have to understand boundaries, right? I
Mm,
think to it is some of the greatest gifts we have. One of the greatest gifts we have is just in affecting boundaries, and we have to know when we're pushing ourselves too far. So that comes with the awareness of it. Like we have to be aware of ourselves, right? We have to be aware of ourselves and exactly how far we're being pushed. I had the conversation this morning with a cousin of mine, especially when we're talking about wife and husband. I think there's three women in my life that I mean, I can't even. They were such a testimony, and they lived such a incredible life. And you met two of them. You know, one being my mother, one being my grandma Joyce. You met Grandma Joyce. You came and prayed for her, brother. And then of course my mom's mom as well. I mean, these were some of the three of the most iconic women ever. If they were TV shows written about them, like they would be a major testimony. And they, you know, when we went back and looked at some of their relationships and some of the things that they persevered through, and did it with such class and high standards, like giving into the people that were around them. Till they could, my grandma Joyce gave her last. She would go into debt for somebody. I think so. You have that, and if she didn't, nobody would have blamed her, or nobody would have blamed my mom for not giving, or nobody would have blamed any of my grandmothers for not continuously giving, because for most people, they got to a point of where they could have stopped and nobody in the world would have blamed them for stop giving. Nobody would have blamed them. Hey, yeah, you put your best foot forward. You know what I mean? At some point in time, you got to think about yourself. So your happiness should come first. You know, that you hear these words now, like my happiness should come before this. If you're not happy, then what's the point about it? I think that's what separates that greatness from the good and the average, right? Those people, we spoke about Christ. John 3:16, brother, you just mentioned it a while back. John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. You know, most people, when we think about our children, our sons, that's as a man, that's your most prized possession. You know, that's one of your most, that's your creation, right? So for you to continuously give, like, you know, can you ever not continue giving? You can. The world won't blame you, right? But I just think it just depends. It's an interesting topic, brother. You talk. I want to hear your side of it, please.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the reason why it hit me so much, because of that, you know, and like the things that you're saying is right up. It's so important. Like even what you're talking about, you know, when you start talking about walking together, the first thing that comes to my mind is like Amos, you know, 3:7. How shall two walk together except they agree? Excuse me, Amos, you know. How should two walk together except they agree? You know, and it's like two people can't walk together without agreement. You know, one person going to want to go south, the other person's going to want to go north, and you're going to end up going in two different directions. You know, so that was right. Amos 3:3. You know, except you agree. 3, Amos 10:3. How can two walk together except they agree? And it's like, you know, even you and I, you know, doing this community beacon, we had to come to some type of agreement in order to be able to show up and do this every single time. And every single time is not that it necessarily felt like perfect and, you know, the perfect fit, because things have come up. Things have come up where it's like, all right, well, how do we approach this? And then you have that happens inside of spousal relationships. You have that in relationships with your children. You know, as your children get older, you know, they start to think differently. And it's like there comes a point in time when things can start to hurt, you know, during this giving process. And one thing that I've learned as I've gotten older is that ain't fun. It's not, it's just not fun, y'all. You know, that, you know, because and I thought about this because the brother was like, man, you about to bring a tear to my eye, because, you know, we were exchanging some gifts of, like King Yada would say, a gift of acknowledgement that we have this joyful respect for one another, and it's been developed over the course of 12 years, you know. And so what about when you have this? Yeah, thank you. What about when you have this with your family or with your loved ones? Or what if you have it with a non-blood relation? Because I think that that's even more difficult, because you don't have to give a care anymore. It's non-blood related. One thing's for sure, my auntie is going to be my auntie today, tomorrow, forever. She's always going to be my auntie. My brother's always going to be my brother. But my child's always going to be my child. But my friend isn't always going to be my friend. Maybe, my spouse, it should be that she's always going to be my spouse, but in the world we live in today, it doesn't mean that she's always going to be my spouse, And then there's a point where, even especially with children, as they grow older and they develop their own mind, it's like, I don't even know if that's my kid anymore.
Brother, you know what I think, as you spoke about it, and then once again, going back to it's funny that you brought this up with the conversation I had this morning with my cousin. I think it comes down to duty. It comes down to being a person of your word. Once again, because there's boundaries created, but within certain aspects of it, there's certain duties, standards, ethics, and morals that need to be upkept. So once again, you mentioned, especially when we're talking about the spousal side, what's the divorce rate might be. I think it dropped below 50%. So praise God to that. Because it's a vow before God. It's a vow before God. It's a vow to God. It's not necessarily to your partner. It's as long as you are a person of their word. You know what I mean? As long as you continue to be dutiful in whatever relationship it is, you put forth your best effort, because you can't control anybody else, right? If someone, I had another conversation with someone else who they mentioned that they didn't even know their spouse was going to leave them. They said they was leaving and they left, and they didn't even see it coming, and they left the door open. So I think us as ourselves, and I love, and once again, I'm around these type of gentlemen, man. You being a person of your word, and you standing on your own words, and what it is that you say, you do the best that you can, and you leave it with no regrets. Praise God. That's how I live my life. I try to live my life with no regrets. I want to say, I want to tell you, if I have an argument with you, you know what I mean? And thank God I've been blessed that way, that I can come back and I can say, you know what, well, I'm wrong, or maybe we can just agree to disagree. Can we move forward from this? Or let's move forward, because I'm open to move forward from this, right? Like, and learning these different things and making these adjustments, but just being a person of your word, and you doing what you got. You do the best you can, right? Not according to what the world say or what's cool, or your emotions for the day. Emotions will trick you. emotions and feelings they would tell you something, and you'll feel a certain kind of way. I'm down, and you want to blame everybody else, but you still have to be dutiful, right? As your word and the law allows. So that's my take on it, and that's how I'm gonna, that's how I'm living my life, and I'm gonna give, as long as someone is within my, I'm working with somebody, I'm going to do everything that I say that I'm going to do to the best of my ability. And if I fall, and I'm not going to be perfect, I may fall down, but I'm going to get back up and continue to that walk. That's my thought process on it, bro.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And I think that's where it's at too. I agree with you. It's because when giving hurts, that's the essence of the entire segment, right? It's like the thought process is, when it hurts me, what do I do?
Yeah.
And so that's why I love your answer, because the bottom line is, whether it's you, Mike, me, or it's Anna, or whoever it is in the world, we can only be accountable. We truly can only be accountable to the changes that we create within inside of ourselves.
Absolutely.
And you just brought that up, and I got a philosophy, I can change me. I can change me. And I can't change you, you know? And living by that philosophy helps me tremendously because it does come down to my word and what I'm willing to give, you know? And at
Yeah.
some point in time, there comes a point in time when sometimes giving does hurt, you know? And I would have to say that because you're giving to somebody who doesn't want to receive.
Yep.
And when you give to someone who does not want to receive, then the emotion attached to the act of giving can come across as painful, especially when you believe that what you have to give can affect that individual in a way that they can have a better life.
You know what that, brother, is that is the given with expectation. So one of the things that you got to work on is that you have to give without, it hurts, right? Because you want if you're giving someone and you want the best for somebody, but you have to get, it has to be no expectations attached to that. The results aren't up to you, right? Because Beethoven had a great saying once. He said, "You know what, Mike? I don't give advice anymore." He said, "I just give information." He said, "Because when I give advice, I'm expecting people to do something. I'm expecting people to take that advice." He says, "But when I give information, I gave you the information. Do what you want to do with it. Choose what you want to do with it." Same thing we have to do. You can give, you can give of your love freely to someone who you feel you want to give it to. If they don't give it back to you, it's not, you gotta remove the expectation, which is easier said than done.
Yeah, or change the expectation.
Yeah.
Right? So like if it fits, it ships, So you give, if I give something, if I give a word of advice or a method or a technique, I can give it with the fullness of it, which is the expectancy of the result. However, the change in the expectancy is just what you said, is that I don't concern myself whether or not someone's going to use it. Because I believe that words matter so much. And we talked about this before. But I believe when I give my word, I need to give it with its full power, the full intention, its full integrity. And the only way I can do that is I give it in the form of the expectancy that comes with it. For instance, when you look at, like, I believe it was in the book of Isaiah, like 55:5, that God spoke his word and it will not return unto him void, but it will accomplish that he intended it to accomplish. So there was always he spoke with this expectancy that it will do exactly what it is meant to do. And so, even with us as people, it's like, when I give my love, I give it with expectancy that my love will be enough. Now, if it's not, I recognize that. I back up off of it because they can do whatever they want to do with it. If it fits, it ships. So dividing myself from that attachment is a thin line, right? It's a very thin line. But that's why I love that whole saying. You know what I'm saying, Mike? I love that saying because it also helps me, by not having the expectancy that somebody will use exactly what I have told them. It releases me from managing my gift in their hands, but giving it with the intent that it will manifest inside of their life. That's the way that I feel I must give it. I must give it with all of that because there's power inside of words. It's like when the disciples looked at Jesus, they come to Jesus and they're in the boat and the winds and everything's going, and Jesus stands up and he's like, "Master, carest not that we perish?" And he looks at them and he says, where's your faith? Where did you doubt? And then he turns to the storm and with the expectancy, he says, "Peace, be still."
Absolutely.
And it's like, this is powerful, right, Mike? Because these are transformational things. Like I wouldn't expect everybody to be able to do this. But when we begin to understand that how we control ourselves can actually set fire to the environment that we are in, we can change the atmosphere, we can energize it. When you stepped inside the room, you brought so much energy, my levels started to percolate. So when we give things, we have to give with that intention that it will do exactly what we believe, so that the individual, when they feel it, they feel the vibrations of it, but then disconnect and keep on moving.
Absolutely. Hey, people, that's the mic drop moment. Timestamp a couple of these moments in this episode. This is definitely one of them, and a timestamp that go back about 2 to 3 minutes once again. Man, this has been some time well spent, guys. It's our intro. Appreciate it. This is going to be a great month. Next week, we'll be talking about the reason for the season. We're going to get even deeper into the December and the Christmas holiday. We'll talk about our Christmas holidays. We'll probably talk about a little about our traditions. Hopefully, the brother's going to come with some stories in regards to some great things that has taken place during the Christmas holidays as we continue to wrap up this year. It's mind-blowing. 2023 is right on the way. Let's get prepared for it with some of these foundational things that we're talking about, guys. I appreciate the love. Community Beacon, we're checking out. See you next week.
All right. Peace, y'all.